Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is Ted, and welcome to the Sidus Bridge launch and also the Sidus Pro effects function for the actual iPad app that's coming out today. So, if this is your first time joining an Aputure live stream launch party, first thing to know, comment real quick. Let us know where you're tuning in from. I am here. I've got a computer right now, and I can actually see all the comments that are here. So I got Matt Hunter over here. I got Justin Allen. I got Kevin from Basic Filmmaker watching. So let us know. We're going to be seeing these comments live. There's a reason why we do this live, why we don't pre-record it, because number one, means we all get to hang out together, which is something I think we don't get to do enough anyways. Number two, we're actually going to be able to go through all those questions and we'll be able to answer those either throughout the presentation or at the end. So if you got any burning Aputure questions, let us know those questions as well. Real quick, this is not a one-man show here. We got a lot of people working on this right now. So we got Brando right there behind in the chat. So go say hey to Brandon. We got Check over here on the second camera, which is going to be giving a couple close-ups. And then Benny, of course, is running the show back there as well, too. So give a shout out to the Aputure guys. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's the reason why we can hang out and do what we do today. Now, today's release is a little bit different than I think a lot of the releases that we talk about. So Aputure, again, we're a lighting company. We make lighting fixtures, and you know about a little bit about what we do if you're watching this stream. Today, we're actually talking about a release from a company called Sidus Link. And Sidus Link is, yes, a part of Aputure. They've spun out. They're actually a new company that's doing software. And again, they came from the Aputure team, but the software that they are doing is not directly connected with all Aputure products. So number one, first of all, you can use Sidus to control all Aputure products, but the dream and the goal for Sidus is that they're actually going to go even further and beyond. We are already in talks with a lot of other companies to be talking about compatibility. And for people that are wondering, again, Sidus is a wireless workflow to be able to control and kind of use all the lighting fixtures that you have. So a lot of very, very cool things coming from this company. They are a separate programming team, but because this does directly relate to Aputure products, we're going to be going over all this today. We are also going to be going over this right here, which is Sidus Bridge. And I'm going to show that real quick for the close-up. We're going to talk about this near the end of the presentation. We're going to talk about what this does. And basically, in a nutshell, for everyone that's wondering, what Sidus Bridge is going to let you do is, for all of the people out there that have legacy Aputure fixtures, we're talking about your 120D, your 120D Mark II, your 672, the light that you bought 6 years ago, your 672, that light there, your $200 panel that you got, is still going to be able to use all the app functionality that we're talking about here today. So we're going to talk about how that works and how this works as well. Now, for existing Aputure users too, Sidus Bridge is going to let us do a bunch of things too. Sidus Bridge acts as a transceiver. So number one, it converts from Bluetooth to radio frequency. It's going to actually let me control all those radio frequency lights. But then number two, it's also just a signal amplifier. So for everybody out there that is using Sidus Link on your sets, this is really the strongest antenna on set. It's going to power and kind of amplify that Bluetooth signal. So as far as connectivity goes for all of your lights, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is something that's really exciting. And again, this is an Aputure specific product from Sidus Link, of course. So to kick things off, though, before we get started, as you know, we usually have a launch film to start off. I'm going to say hi real quick. We got Diego Hodge tuning in from Los Angeles. I'm looking at the YouTube right now. We have Kenny Vasquez coming in from Philly. We got Cy coming in from Cardiff in the UK. Thanks so much for watching. We got Liam Tane over here. Got his name right. Langston Ball. I got a lot of familiar faces from the Aputure user group. Let's do this, guys. We're going to play real quick with a quick little Sidus Link launch film, a little different than the usual stuff that we do here. So let's get it queued up.
Hey, remember that time you needed to adjust a light, but you couldn't adjust it because you had already pushed it out of the way? Or that time that you tried to recreate your favorite color, but then it turned into this? I think it was straw and ocean blue, right? More? Less? I'm Valentina, and this is Sidus Link, an all-new workflow that lets you control your lighting from anywhere. An engine that lets you animate any effect that you could ever think of, and a paintbrush that lets you pick and choose colors, not just from a color wheel, but from real life. This is your creative sidekick for getting the job done. And here's how it works. To connect, we use Bluetooth Mesh, which is nothing like the Bluetooth that you already know. Bluetooth Mesh means that Sidus Link can control over 100 devices at the same time, up to 400 meters away. Unlike Wi-Fi, Bluetooth Mesh also means that every fixture connects to each other and creates a network of coverage. So if your phone dies, your lighting grid won't. And all you need to do is log back in. and multiple people can log in. So when you're working on a shoot, you can do it with your friends. Sidus tells you everything you need to know and puts you in charge. You can name, group, and adjust your lights. And we aren't just talking about brightness. You can change everything. Use HSI or CCT to dial in any hue or color temperature. Pick from over 300 industry standard gels, or pick a color from real life. Use the camera built into your smartphone to capture any color or light source. Just point, click, match. Or scroll through our easy-to-use presets to match the source of your light, with everything from overcast sky to candle ready to go. And if you're more advanced, try using XY to measure and recreate light to the nanometer. And if you need an effect like fire or television, no problem. You can even record effects or save them for later. And with Magic Program, the possibilities are endless. Control 25 lights to interact with each other and create a scene like never before. Our timeline design makes it easy to be creative and try your ideas before you shoot. And with the ability to animate lights in a sequence, it has never been easier to create an amazing effect. Finally, if your light doesn't have Bluetooth, don't worry, we've still got your back. With Sidus Bridge, even older Aputure lights can be connected to your phone. You just need a fixture with remote control, and Sidus Bridge acts as a translator, converting Bluetooth into a standard 2.4 remote control. With an IP65 dust and waterproof design, Sidus Bridge is built to last. On a single charge, one bridge will last over 18 hours and can be quickly charged via USB Type-C. And for those that already have Bluetooth, Sidus Bridge acts as a signal amplifier, extending your connection range across your entire set. So whether you need one device or 100, Sidus Link will be there to help as always.
Alrighty, you guys ready for this? So, a couple of quick names. We got Bad Karma south of Los Angeles, down the street from us, of course. We're right next to Cinelise over here. Garden Grove, California, New Zealand. I got someone tuning in from Toronto, Montreal, Canada. Again, thanks so much for tuning in across the world. Seriously, it's really, really cool to see all the people here, especially this year when we haven't been able to do trade shows. It's been nice to check in with everybody. So, okay. Are you guys ready for this? Well, today we are going to talk about a couple of things here. Number one, we're going to do a full walkthrough of the Sidus app. Again, for a couple Aputure users out there, you guys have seen a lot of this already, but we're going to start talking about some of the pro features. And in particular, I'm going to do this demo on the iPad, which is here today. You can see I've got this little dongle plugged in here. No, this is not a dongle that is plugging in direct to any of these lights or anything like that. Again, this is a fully wireless workflow that we can do. So I've got the Sidus Link app here today, and unlike the previous days, I'm going to do a full walkthrough of the app if you haven't played with this already. Again, the iPhone app is free to download immediately. The Android app is free to download. The iPad app, however, is a little bit different as far as it goes. So we're going to go through that full walkthrough today. I want to show you guys real quick how Sidus Link works, and I'm just going to show you the main features first before we jump into some of the more complicated stuff. So right now, through the magical powers of technology, you guys can see exactly what is on my screen as I click it, right? So I'm going to do the first thing here. I've got my MC on the left, so I can just select my different lights here, and I am selecting the MC first. And let's say I want the MC to be green. And just like that, one of my MCs behind me has just turned green. It's a little bit hard to see right now because there's a lot of bright lights here, but I can change and pick any color that I want just by picking and choosing automatically here. Now, what's cool too is you can actually save presets now. So you can see I actually grab that circle there. If I go full red, I'll grab that circle and go into the bottom left corner. And now I've just pulled that in. Now I have regular presets that I can go between and click and select however I want. Now, beyond this in the color picker mode, you can actually go over here to CCT mode. And on CCT, I have full control of my intensity as a little slider here. I've got full control of my CCT as a little slider over here. And then you've got a couple presets here too. So I've got things like quarter, 1/8, quarter, half full for my intensity and my brightness. That'll actually change. And again, you can see all this live. You know what I'll do is I'll actually change the light that I'm changing to my Nova. And that'll make it a little bit more dramatic. My Nova right now, if you see behind me, is actually blasting through that window. So if I crank up my intensity here, you'll see it, you'll notice it a lot more playing in full power over here. Thanks, Brandon. Brandon just dimmed the light on me so you can see the lights a little bit better. If I want to change my CCT, I can change all of that back there, as you'll see, changing automatically. And then I also have green magenta shift here too. So if I want to change all of that, super seamless, super easy to work with. And I can change my actual my curves for how I change my intensity, or actually how I change my CCT as well. So that's color temperature mode. Now, beyond that, we have gel mode as well too. So I can go here and I actually have, again, all those gels that we were talking about pre-built in here, and I can automatically do it. If I select tungsten or daylight, that's basically what is the source light. So am I putting this gel on a tungsten light or a daylight light? This light will, of course, absolutely do the math for you and automatically program that in for you. On the side here, within the actual CTO, CTB gel mode, I've also got my gels here, so I can actually go through and pick specific gels that'll be more noticeable here. Over here on the right, I've got that HSI mode that I was showing you guys before, and there's a couple different ways I can pick colors. So number one, I've got RGB mode, where I can actually plug in and say, this is my red channel, this is my blue channel, and that was my green channel actually, and then this one is my blue channel. So RGB mode, of course, lets me actually fine tune my color however I want to, so you can see how my entire set is changing. Glad I picked that Nova. Next to RGB mode, within that same kind of color header, you've got XY mode. So XY, again, lets me pick whatever color I want within whatever color space I want. So I can choose which gamut I want, whether it's DCI P3 or BT709, which is Rec 709. I can pick whichever color I want within those camera color spaces as well here. And again, one of the new things that we have here for XY is that you can actually, if you are a little more technical and you are lighting in XY, which a lot of the DPs that we're talking to these days are kind of using this high level technology, I can actually program in whatever coordinate that I want for my XY functionality, and it'll automatically find that color and change to it right away. So I just picked red, we went straight to red. Why did I memorize that? I don't know. Anyways, okay, so moving on from there, I've got my color picker mode. So you can see I've got a camera over here. And you can see I'm actually, again, this is me watching you guys posting in comments right now. But if I go to something like, say, a fire effect on this Vimeo video, and let's say I crank up my brightness a little bit. This is kind of a dark fire here, but let's pick a red that I like here, kind of an orangey red. I can grab that and automatically the color will change behind me. So as we showed before, I'm going to go to HSI. I'm going to go to something like green so you can see the difference a little bit more clearly. When I go to color picker effect, let's retry that again. What do I got around here that's colorful? I guess I'll go right back to this red one more time just to show that effect as we do it in real time. I'll pick that color, and just like that, the red will actually match to what's automatically behind me in real time. Now, we've talked about a couple of the basic functions. Let's talk real quick about a couple advanced functions. So we're starting off with effects. We got some people here that are fired up in the comments. I'm excited about that. I see some questions that I'll answer in just a little bit. Real quick, I got a question real quick about Android. Let's talk about that. This is available today. Basically, the waves of which the app that we release, we have separate teams that are working on the actual iOS version and the Android version. They're both working as quickly as possible, but there's different protocols that they have to work through, different checks and balances that they got to work through. So for the first time, what we are showing today is we're showing Sidus Pro effects on the iPad app. The iPad app has actually been out for a little bit, but the Pro effects that we're about to show in a little bit have not. The iPhone app has been out for a long time now, but what we're showing with the iPhone app today is we're actually showing a couple of new updates that have been done. We have live picker effects, which we'll be showing in just a little bit. But for people out there that are using Android, we are working quick as we can on that. Android, basically almost all of the Magic, the Pro effects will be coming in November. However, in December is when Magic Program is coming out. So hang tight for that. We'll show you what Magic Program is in just a little bit if you don't know already. For the people out there that do know, I'm going to be showing you an actual walkthrough demo so that you feel really confident in using this technology forward. Okay, so the last thing I want to show here is when we go to the top here, again, we saw CCT on the top here. Brandon, if you can pull that up. CCT is on the top. I've got CTB right here, and that's basically my gel mode. I've got my color mode, which is here on the third one, and then my fourth one is effects. So if I want to do things like cop car, I can play a cop car, which is now going behind me. If I want to play something like, a welding light, maybe someone is welding something outside behind this window. All of this can play as well super quickly. I've got things like fire, and I can pick whether I want that fire to be a natural fire, a warm fire, a cool fire. All this is pre-built into the actual app as far as it goes. Now, if we want to go beyond this mode, though, what are the things that we can introduce? So I think what we can do is let's start talking about what the Pro effects mean, and let's hop over to that PowerPoint. Sounds good? Okay, so we've done a quick little overview of Sidus Link, and these are kind of the main functions and the main features that work within the app. Very, very fast, as you can see, very intuitive, super easy to understand quickly. So let's talk about what is new, though, as far as building on top of the foundation that we've already got. So, number one, we are releasing firmware 1.2. The Sidus Link team is releasing this for the iPad. So, what that does mean is, again, I know a lot of people are familiar with iPad apps that are just kind of blown up bigger versions of the iPhone version or the bigger versions of their Android version. This is not that. This is actually a total redesign as far as being able to maximize the amount of space. And again, for a lot of you guys out there that are familiar with wireless DMX, for example, we are trying to do this in a way that brings that wireless DMX connectivity to your devices, to your fixtures, and you do not need any separate dongles or any separate connectors. All of the Aputure lights already have this chip built in. And the technology that we're using here, again, Aputure people know this already, but this is Bluetooth mesh technology, which is not like regular Bluetooth. As you saw in the commercial, normally when you have Bluetooth, your device connects to each device individually. And if you connect to more than 7 devices especially, your phone kind of freaks out. Bluetooth mesh is different because every single light actually acts as a node in a network, like a spider web. Every single light connects to each other. It creates a network, which means that yes, if your phone or your tablet dies, or if you want to have multiple people connecting to something, or if you want to throw the signal around a corner, every light will communicate your instructions to each other, creating a wider amount of range and a better amount of connection and a stronger network overall. So let's jump into real quick what some of those changes are. But I know this is a lot, so if you got any questions, just let us know. Okay. Hey, we got Carlos Vito in here. I met Carlos in New York a while ago. A great guy. Okay. Number one that we're showing here is we are showing Magic Program. This is officially released for the iPad. This is really, really exciting. I cannot emphasize how exciting this is. Basically, for all the people out there that are wondering what Magic Program is, the question that I want to ask you is, when you try to animate lights, wouldn't it be great if you had a timeline node style editor, something where you could put keyframes essentially to be able to animate and change all of your lights in real time? We have had it on the phone for a little bit, but again, the phone screen is kind of small. And I think on higher end sets, we need something a little bit bigger. So number one, we have redesigned the entire user interface for the iPad OS. We do have that same timeline built in, but we have a 3 keyboard view, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. We have a full color-coded time preview, and of course, we have that much larger workspace. So today I'm going to be working off of an iPad mini. So when you work on an iPad, the buttons are huge. The buttons are fantastic here. You can already see this kind of being put on there, but again, I'm going to be doing this all on the iPad mini just to show you guys that even if you have the smaller versions too, everything works no problem. So how do I get to Magic Program? Before I get to Magic Program real quick, I'm going to jump to the bottom here. So you see there's that bottom bar. I've got Program here, and I've got Console here on the bottom. So real quick, Fixtures mode is the mode that we were in. This is where I go into each fixture individually, and I get the most amount of detail per fixture based on what I want to change. Now, Console mode is a little bit different than Fixture mode, as opposed to Fixture mode where I can go into each fixture individually and be able to control all the details that I want to control. Console mode actually shows me all of my lights in a row like this, and I can actually scroll through here if I want to too, and I can actually see all of my fixtures here in real time. And if I want to change something like, say, my intensity, or do like kind of small changes, small little fader board dims, I can do that real quick. So I've got my second MC here. I can just change that up and down. But again, real quick, what you guys are seeing is you're seeing 9 MCs on this little board behind me. You are seeing a 120D, you're seeing LS1, an LSC, and a 672, which again is a plastic light from 6 years ago. And we're going to show you how all of this, even those lights from a long time ago, are all going to work on that same ecosystem. Now again, out that window, we've got a Nova, but just so you can see it in the close-up, here's one of my lights getting brighter and darker. It's kind of hard to see on the MCs in particular. So let's do the Nova again. Here's my Nova, dimming, going up and down. And if I want to change my color temperature, all I have to do is just click this top little button on the top. So I've got 2 modes here, intensity and my white light mode. When I go to white light mode, now all of a sudden what I'm actually changing is I'm changing my color temperature as I go up and down, instead of actually changing my intensity, which is more for this one. So here's my intensity, and here is my color temperature. Again, very easy, quick, and fast in terms of being able to use this. Okay, we talked about console mode. I'm going to talk about some of the updates from console mode in just a little bit. A lot of things to cover here today, but let's hop over to Magic Program, which is, I think, something that a lot of people have been waiting for, and especially the iPad version is one of the things that I'm the most excited about. So what are you noticing here off the bat? We talked about redesigning the UI. So previously, if you want to kind of cover up those 2 windows, you see how there's 3 sections here? There's all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 2 rows of 1 and 2. Basically, on the iPhone or the Android phone that you're using, you could only see 1 actual module at a time. And that's just because that's the amount of space that we have. On the iPad, however, we can show you 3 modules at the same time here. So if I want to program in something, so let's say I'm going to reset this timeline, actually just to show you guys an effect real quick of what this lets me do. Brando, can you cut? This is a quick little thing we programmed in before, a couple seconds before. If you can dim down that Nova for me. Actually, I think people can see it pretty clearly. Here are the MCs doing that exact effect that we talked about. And if you cut right back to the actual inside of the iPad app, you can see again exactly how it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is all happening in real time, and this is being controlled. And the amount of time that it took us to program this, probably about, I would say, what, Brando, it took you 30 seconds? Took you about 30 seconds. So very, very quick designs here. Once you learn how to use this, it is really intuitive and easy. This is something that we tried to make easy so that anyone can pick this up. Anyone can use this. Now, let's talk real quick about how to actually do this. So I'm going to do a little demo for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first click that. I'm going to reset everything that's on my timeline. And now my timeline is bare, right? But just to go even further back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch. So normally if I'm in fixtures mode and I click over to program mode, this is what it's going to show me. It's going to show me all of my fixtures here on the left. It's going to show me the nodes, the matrix here. And then on the right, I'm going to be able to pick which size of matrix I want. So I can do a 2x2, I can do a 3x3, I can do a 4x4. And this is just dependent on how many lights you have or how you want to look at your thing. Think about it kind of like a beat maker if you're into music or something like that. So today I have 9 lights on that MC here. So I'm going to do 9 3x3. And all I have to do is just do 1 and bang. Now that's my MC1. Click on 2. Bang, there's my MC2, and I can basically program these and put these into any category that I want. I got a duplicate 4 here because I had a second MC. I got my 6, my 7, I'm gonna go along, and I'm just gonna put them in order, but I can customize this however I want. Now that I've got this all in, all I gotta do is hit enter, and this thing's going to load, and basically all this is doing is this is programming, customizing, and building in each light fixture to the actual node that was set. So it takes a quick second, this is going to load in, but not very long, because here we are. Now, if I want to do something, I'm going to walk through the menus. So underneath that 9, you see over there, you've got AB, you've got flash, you've got continuous, you've got off, and you've got blank. So I'm going to show you guys a quick little walkthrough of how all of these work real quick. So if I want to do something like flash, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to say, I want them all to flash, let's say green, or you know what? Maybe we have a good color here that we can do as well too. I'm going to do green for now, but you guys write in what color you guys want to do for your second color and I'll do it there. So starting with green, I'm going to say it's going to flash at an intensity of, let's say, 30. That sounds nice to me. Down here, I can pick the frequency, which is how fast is it flashing. And then also I can pick the number of times that it flashes. So I'm going to say, we're just going to flash once, and I'm going to have it flash as fast as possible. So flashing 1, I'm going to set that as my default. And now that flash mode is set to that default. So if I want my lights to flash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like I just did, all I got to do is click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now all I have to do is hit play. And Brandon, if you can, ta-da! Super duper fast. And there's my green flash automatically. So you can see it again. Brandon's turning off the Nova so you can see it a little bit more clearly. Probably could have cranked it up to 100% brightness, but let's do 30% just so you can see a little bit more of that color coming in. Now, if I hit pause here, I'm going to go back, hit pause, bang. On the bottom here, I've got a draggable timeline editor that I can actually put wherever I want to go. And let's say, we didn't want to do green. We already went off of green. Who else do we got here? I got Jay McCullough saying blue. So we're going to do blue. Let's do that, okay? Just for you, Jay. I'm coming in. Now I'm going to select my flash again. I'm going to hop on over to blue. There's my blue. I'm going to hit that as my default. And now that I've got that as my default, I'm going to go the reverse way this time, just for fun. Again, it can be anything. I'm going to say 98765. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to hit play. And now it does my green animation. And then it does my blue animation going in the opposite direction here. So here's my blue animation going in the opposite direction. Here's my green. And here's my blue. So just like that, is super duper fast and easy to make quick effects here. Now, as you can see, I did flash, but I skipped one of the ones here, and that's AB. What is AB for? So AB just means that if I want to set an in point or an out point, because again, I know that everybody here at least should have had a little bit of experience with a timeline editor. Let's say I don't want to do that blue part of the effect. I don't want to do the green part of the effect. I just want to do the blue part of the effect. All I do is I click here, I've set my A point, I set my B point, and now when I hit play, it is only going to do my A to my B. So I can actually pick a specific segment anywhere that I want, and I can actually recreate that color and recreate that animation as I go. So we've talked about flash, we've talked about AB. Okay, we're doing this training quick and we're getting everybody on board because lighting should be easy You should be able to focus on more creative things. You should be able to focus on making whatever you're thinking about. And you shouldn't have to be worried about menus and interfaces and things like that. This is designed to be intuitive. We spent a lot of time making this simple and easy to understand. Okay, we talked about Flash now. Now that we've talked about Flash, I'm going to hop on over here. I'm going to remove my A and B, so now I have my entire timeline here. And if I drag this to the end as I want to, well, let's say that right there. I want to show one thing real quick before I jump over to continuous. I know the screen's kind of small, so if you can zoom in real quick and take a look at the nodes. Now the nodes are the color that's actually going to flash as, but it's not just the color. If you actually look a little bit closer at the node, you'll see that there's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6. So actually, the exact position that I put it in for my array, it's actually going to mark those nodes with that number in real time. So you never have to worry about which light is changing where, which one actually works in the exact positioning. You can actually watch, and you already have kind of a pre-visualization idea of what the timeline is going to look like before you hit play. That way too, if I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know what? I don't want 5 or 6 to flash. I can grab the 5 node, I can hit delete, and now I can erase just individual nodes by themselves too. And this is all super easy and quick, and I can change all of that as I need. Now, we've erased 5 and 6. So again, that kind of chase is going to look a little wonky there, but you guys can see the customizability of it. When I go to continue is a little bit different of a mode here. So unlike Flash, that just kind of pops off one as quickly as possible, continue means that it's actually going to hold on that light for however many time I want. So for example, I'll do red because we've done green and blue, and red is feeling a little left out now. So we got to include them back into the thing. I can pick my color, and when I scroll down, I've got all these little options here, just like in Premiere Pro or something like that. So when I do red, I can pick how much time does it take for the red to fade up. Do I want it to take 0 seconds, or do I want it to take 12 seconds or 13 seconds? This is the time that it'll take to fade up into this color. And then after I've got my fade, I can pick my curves, whether I want it to be kind of ease in, ease out, or ease out, ease in, however I want that to go. I've got my continue time, which is how long it's going to hold for. How long is that color going to stay there for? So again, I got a pretty long time there. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it like, say, 3.3 seconds. How about that? And again, I can edit this just by hitting plus and minus if I want an exact number there, no problem. And then of course I got my fade out time, which is 1 second. So just to recap, I'm going to say my fade in time is going to be something like 2 seconds. I'm going to say my continuous time is 3 seconds, and my fade out time is 1 second. And everything I'm going to do, let's do a little ease in, ease out actually, just for the sake of having fun with that. Okay, we got an ease in, we got an ease out. And then now I'm going to do it with red. So all I do is I mark that as my default. And now if I want to, I can have my red light here automatically, bang. And just like that, it's going to throw that into the timeline using the actual full amount of time. Above 1, you're actually going to see, again, this is the genius of the Sidus team. And I'm so impressed with what the Sidus guys do. Those guys are absolutely amazing. Above the 1, you're going to see 6 seconds because that's the full amount of time that it's going to take. And there it is on the timeline. So when I play my thing from the beginning again, it's going to go green, blue, red. And one of them is now going to go red, red. So basically, I just need to extend the amount of time that it holds for, and red. There it is. So we talked a little bit about continuous. I want to jump over to the next part over here. This is chase over here. So the way that chase works is a little bit different than regular continuous. So continuous will basically just hit. It'll hold on for however much time you need it to hold on for. When I go over to chase mode, what chase is going to let me do is I can actually do color transitions. So if I want it to go from something like, say, green, red to green, I can pick that window here, and it'll actually do kind of a full 360 color change into that actual hue that I want here. And I can actually go between a couple of things here. So number 1 on the top here, I have intensity. If I do point, that means this is the exact intensity that's going to trigger at. It's going to stay at that intensity. If I do range, this means that I can actually animate in and actually hold and change an actual keyframe move from 18% to 50%. If I go down here, I've got different types of chase modes. So again, if I want to go forwards in my range, I hit that first one. This is forwards for clockwise. If I want to go backwards, I do counterclockwise. If I want it to bounce and kind of alternate and go back and forth, I can do that. And then random means that it'll literally just pick random intervals and it'll kind of pulse and kind of wiggle to that effect. Now, I can do the same thing here for hue. I can do a point hue where I'll actually just pick a hue and stick there. I can do a range hue where it'll actually change between those ranges. So if I want to do like a full 360 color chase and it's doing party mode, I can do all of that here. If I want that party mode to go in reverse, say I want to go from blue to green instead of green to blue as the normal rainbow does, I can reverse that here. And then of course I've got all my saturation and my time modes here. So I can change how often it loops, whether it just loops once or multiple times. All this can be customizable here in chase mode. Finally, over here, I've got effects mode. So what effects mode means is that basically I can trigger effects to be a part of the timeline as well. So if I want to do things like party lights, or I want to do things like paparazzi or fireworks or things like that, all this can also be pre-built in, and I can set that as my default. So I'm going to say, this is going to be a party effect. We are going to do it color mode. I'm going to set the frequency very high to 10. And then I'm going to say, all of my lights are going to do fireworks effects at the end of my timeline. So let's bring that over here. I'm going to bring this over to the end of my couple seconds here. Actually, we might have it interrupt, but bring it over. And I'm going to say, now we're going to do some fireworks effects in red. And now when we go, we've got our green, we've got our blue. Again, I removed my 6 and 5. We are holding on red. Here's that up. It's holding for 3 seconds, fades down for 1 second, and then we go into a fire effects mode for each of those. So super, super quick, super easy. All this is intuitive and built in. Now, the last couple nodes here, again, because we got a lot of things to cover here, is off and blank. So off, all that means is that if I do off and I trigger these in, so I'm going to go to the end of my timeline again. Let's go back here. I'm going to grab wherever I need to go. Oh, I got my fire effects going on for infinity. Here, I'm going to clear this real quick. If I have a color that stays on and goes blue, and I keep it on as an always blue, and then I want to turn off, all I have to do is just click off and hit that. And what it'll do is it'll make an off trigger in that scenario. And I can also set blanks too. So if I want the entire timeline to wait for some reason, or I want a dramatic pause before it restarts, I can add those blanks in as well. And again, this will show you the real time that this is all happening in. Okay, last thing to talk about is, what if I need to trigger multiple lights in groups? What if my cop car effect is I need 4 lights to go blue and 4 lights to go red and 4 lights to go blue, and they all need to go at the same time? That right here can be done via this right column here. So you can see I've been primarily using this middle one. If I wanted an effect to happen, like I wanted, say, all of my lights to flash blue at the same time, I can go to set default and click the all button here. And what that'll do is that'll actually trigger all of my lights to go blue at the same time. Now, all individual fixtures on the right here, I've got array. And when I click array, basically what that's going to do is it's going to take the same lights that were here in 1 through 9, but I can group these however I want to group them. So for example, if I want 1, 2, and 4 to be one group, all I got to do is hit this link button here. And now 1, 2, and 4 are a group. And now when I want these to flash as a group, I can actually select the entire group altogether. So I'm going to say that's one group. I'm going to say this is 2. I'm going to call this 1. I'm going to call this 3. So here's my 3 groups. I've got my 2, my 1, and my 3. I'm going to hit that check button. That check button is going to save my groups. And now that I've got those groups set, when I do my actual triggers, I can do my triggers in the same way that I was doing it before, in terms of just clicking the entire group. I've got flash, now blue. All 3 of those will flash at the same time. I can do 1, all those will flash at the same time. I can do 3, all those will flash at the same time. And these are not the only groups that you can do. If you need to do multiple groups, more groups, all I got to do is actually come over here, hit that plus button, and I can set another array. So this time I say I want 1, 2, and 3 to be one group. I want this to be one group, and I want this to be one group. These are now separate groups that I can do and actually add a little more fine tuning to my control. So all built into the app. And now I've got, again, this store mode here, so I can actually save my timeline here. So if I want to recreate effect the night before during a pre-light for something, I can bring that effect again, and I don't have to waste everybody's time on set in terms of needing to program this in. But again, fast. Fast, fast, fast. This is really important for us being able to move quickly on set and being rapid in the way that we do things. All righty. That is Magic Program. Let's get back to this PowerPoint. I know we are going. There's a lot of things to cover here. Let me check some of these questions real quick. Brenda, we got any questions there? We got Sydney DeYoung's in here. Yes. I think it just keeps going, to be honest. 10 minutes. Okay, so the maximum time for the timeline is 10 minutes. You can loop these effects however you need to, though. So if you have a scene that goes longer than that, you can loop that over and over again. But 10 minutes of nonstop kind of customizable timeline space. Okay. The question from Gavin Seville is, can you have 3 lights flash at the same time? Yes, you can, using that array function that I showed off there as well too. So get your hands dirty with the app is really the best thing that I can say. Start playing with it. If you haven't seen it already, Davi Valente is basically a user from Brazil. He's actually he shot a lot of the things from that commercial, that ring of kind of lights. Some people are doing amazing stuff as far as the creativity that comes with Sidus Link. So I want to say real quick, if you've been playing with this app, or if you want to see what this app does, 2 things you should do. Number 1, follow Sidus Link on Facebook. They're a new company, but again, they're growing very quickly. And again, my mind is blown as far as how talented the engineers and how talented the product team is. Seriously, insanely talented, smart people. Number 2, join the Sidus Link creativity group. There's an Aputure user group. We talked about stuff there as far as Aputure stuff. Again, it's all connected right now. But again, we're already in conversations for Sidus Link to be working with other products coming out soon, other brands, stuff like that too. So check out the Sidus Link creativity group as well too. There's kind of an ongoing conversation about new effects that are coming out as far as Sidus Link goes. Okay, I think we need to get back to this PowerPoint though, because we got some ground to cover. Let's do this, bring us back. Okay, so we talked about Magic Program. I gave you guys a quick little walkthrough of how it works. One of the coolest things that we've added in is manual effects. So this is something that the Sidus team put in. And seriously, as far as manual effects go, this is a very, very complicated thing to do in a lot of ways. So when we go to manual effects, I'm going to show you one real quick. I'm going to hop over to this Nova. One of the new things that was actually added here is you actually have a full preview window in your actual effects category. So before, you would have to kind of program in your effects. You would guess, what is the change going to be that's happening to my effect? Now what's happened is, and again, it seems simple, but this is a very, very difficult thing for the engineering team. And this is a very difficult thing that I know the Sidus team spent a lot of time on. So I want to make a big deal out of this for you guys too. What's cool is that you've got this graph right above those menus there. And that graph is actually going to show you the actual color changes. It's going to visualize the color change, the intensity change, so that you can actually see and create your manual effects instead of having to play them in between every single time. Now, this is only going to work right now for the MCs. This is not at the Nova yet, but again, this is something that is being released for all the other lights. But again, we're starting off with the MC and just the B7C as far as what can be controlled using manual effects. Again, we have a bunch of effects built in, but if you want to customize them more, this is the way to do it. So I'll show you guys real quick. I'm going to hop on over to effects. When you go to effects, I'm going to grab my MC. I'm going to go to effects, and you'll see right here on the top here, I've got system. I've got picker effects, which again, if you guys haven't seen this already, you know that you can actually record effects in real time and recreate them and replay them. And then of course, I've got manual effects here now too. So as far as manual effects goes, I can now change everything here. All of my effects can be customizable here. And what's cool is that you'll actually see this timeline view on the top here that will actually show with time actually and seconds how long each effect is going on for and how it actually changes in real time. So everything can be changed here. If I actually go and I change my intensity, you'll see that the bar goes up and down. And this is what that effect looks like. It goes up, intensity, it goes across, stays consistent, and it goes down. If I want to change the color of that, I just go here and it'll actually show me those color changes in real time as I've changed my CCT there. If I want to change my range and I want to say it's an HSI color chase, I go to point, range, and now when I change my range, it will show me with time an actual visualization of it starts red, it dims up, it holds while it changes colors. It goes through all the colors in the rainbow. When it hits blue, it goes down. So no longer do you have to just guess and try to recreate all of your own manual effects. Now you can actually do this in real time, and I can hit play and it'll actually walk through and show me an actual timeline editable version of my manual effects as I'm doing it. So one of the hardest things to do has been creating manual effects that are savable, programmable, repeatable. Really, really proud. Again, the Sidus team is amazing. They did this. They came up with this incredible kind of function here. So if you haven't checked it out now, recreating and making your own kind of visual effect, your own creative, customizable thing, never been easier with this actual timeline here and how it works. So manual effects, big deal. Let's go to the next slide. Ready? Okay, now we have talked a little bit about the iPad version, which is what I've been focusing on mostly. But again, don't forget that the iPhone version is free. The Android version is free. So if I actually go here onto the phone, you can see we've added a couple of things here. Number one, XY and HSI mode support manual input. So What this means is we had a request for this. Is just that when we do X, Y, again, before you had to kind of drag the finger. Now with this new update, you can actually just click on HSI and plug in whatever number you want. The same thing actually applies for the phone as well too. So here, what I'll do is I'm going to unplug here from the iPad. I'm going to plug in here to my phone. And on my phone, I have got two MCs on my desk here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these. I'm going to do my fixtures here. I'm going to do my color here. You can see that these are changing. Again, the light's kind of bright on me, so it's hard to see. But maybe I'll shine this on myself so you can see it a little bit more. I'll crank my intensity up. There you go. That's something you can see. So before, again, I could change my hue, my saturation, however. But one of the things that we added is you can actually now click and you can type in your exact hue number or your exact saturation number. So you don't have to sit there and try to dial in the exact thing with the kind of sneaky finger there. Don't have to worry about that. It'll all work here in real time. Now, there's another slide here I want to show real quick because there is another update that's being made to the phone. Ready? Okay, so a couple of other updates here. This is both for the phone and the iPad itself, but previously you could only do up to 5 scenes. Now we've added, so you can actually do up to 10 scenes. So the scenes, again, are each kind of workflow, each little system that we have. And the reason that the scenes are important is that I can make a scene, connect to all my lights, and then while maybe my pre-light team is going on to another location or a different room, they can set up a separate scene so that I only see the lights that are actually playing in that scene, and I can set everything up and collaborate with different people in that way. Now, again, we talked about manually selecting a master node. This is something that's new as well too. So before, the phone used to just set one of the nodes as like the master node, which is the one that really kind of sends the signal first. Now you can actually pick any master node you want. I can just go through and I can change that however I need on the actual menu system. These are small updates. Moving on. All right. And then this one, again, is kind of a small thing, but it actually works a lot in terms of the actual workflow. So one of the things that we've been getting as far as comments is how do I reorganize my console? So one of the things that we did is before you had to kind of manually go in and try to change this, or you'd have to reconnect to each device one by one. Now what you can do is you can actually connect all of your phone, all of your apps all at the same time. And at the same time, I can just hop into console mode and drag and drop and move around anything that I want just like that. So super quick stuff here. Okay. Now we're going to talk real quick about the phone here. So we've got Sidus Link iOS 1.3. So what does this mean? What's new? Again, we talked about 1.2. The new updates that have been added to 1.3, there's a couple of key features here. So starting off, number one, our first function that we got here is picker effects. So we talked about this before, what you could do before, and we talked about this is actually you can go in, when I do my effects, not only can I do it where I actually pick a color, just like I showed you guys, but I can actually go to the side and actually grab a real color from a video. So for example, hop over real quick to my iPhone view if you can, Brando. I've got my phone here. Here's my regular color. When I go to my effects, here's my regular effects. When I go here though, I got picker effects. So if I want to grab something like say this red, I can do this. I can play this video and I'm going to record this change in real time. And this is again, just some fire video that I found online. And when I stop it, now what I can do is I can actually save this and I can do, let's say fire Vimeo. It's going to be there automatically. And I can change these however I want to. So I can change my hue, I can change my saturation. But the key thing here is that I have now captured, I'm sorry, let me do that one more time. So I hit the reset button on that. I'm going to recreate this. I'm going to replay this. I'm going to loop that. I'm going to record that. And in real time, I'm recording this. I'll get a little bit of fire change here. I'll hit the stop button. We've got fire Vimeo. Fire Vimeo. And now all I have to do is just hit that play button and I can see that real change in real time. So again, everything can be recorded here. You can see the lights are actually recreating a little bit of that fire glow that was happening to me before. But what I can do is I can actually save these and send these as custom effects. So if you have an MC or if you have a B7C, you'll actually be able to go in. You'll see that your menus have changed a little bit after you update them. Go on over and on the top here, you will see a new menu mode here called CFX. So let's see if Chet, being the master quick focus pull, if you can get that for us real quick. CFX. So what that means is custom effects. When I actually do this, I can load the effects, save them, send them to my device, and now I don't even need my phone to replay those effects. I can just go, click here in real time. I know, chat, this focus is very difficult for you, but for the people, let's get a round of applause for Chet. I've now got my presets in here, and I can just pick any of those presets and recreate and replay that effect that I've got downloaded. Okay, So that's picker effects, but beyond picker effects, we now have a new mode here. So when I go to my mode here, you can see I'm recording again. Here's a little bit of that set that's recording me. Here's that Nova here. If we can get that light turned on for me. Thanks, Brando. When I actually go here, one of the new modes that I can do here is live picker effects. Looks like Vimeo is just going down the portal of things that I got here. I go back to that fire. Live effects means that when I click this button here on the bottom right, now what's happening is when I re-change this and move this around, you'll see that this light is actually moving and capturing the color changes in real time. So as I move this phone around, and if I actually want to play a fire video, what this will do is in real time, it'll actually react to the fire that's going on here. So no longer do I have to worry about trying to match it on a dimmer switch or something like that. This will actually recreate that color and actually recreate that change in real time as I am recording that video. And if I move this to something like, say, a bounce board, now it goes white, and I go back to the fire, and now it's recreating that fire effect. So the bounce board is white, and I can move this around and capture any color or hue that I want. So if I'm trying to match multiple lights together, there's really never been an easier way to do it. And again, this all works live and in real time. So very curious to see kind of some of the effects and things that you can find with that. If I'm trying to recreate a TV glow and I have an actual TV going, I can record the TV image and actually have it going in real time live. I don't even have to save it. I can just go, connect it, and one device will automatically start recreating that TV effect as I need it. All right, cool. Now moving on. We have got Picker Effects Live. A couple of other additions here is that we can now do manual effects for groups. This is something that we did not have before, but that same thing, everything that I was showing you about manual effects, I can now group multiple lights together and recreate those manual effects in real time. Next slide. Let's talk real quick about our last thing that we're talking about here today, and this is Sidus Bridge. So the final thing that we want to show today, we've done a little walkthrough of the app. Hopefully, if you've been curious about the Sidus technology and how it works and how the actual Aputure ecosystem works wirelessly, you now know how to be able to program a couple effects. You now know how to use this. Again, the app is free. It is already built into most new Aputure lights. If you have a 300D Mark II or on, all of those lights, the B7C, the MC, the Novas, all of those already have that Bluetooth mesh module built in. So all you need to do is just download the app. This functionality is already built in and constantly getting updated for all of your lights. Now, if you do not have a light that is a 300D Mark II or newer, this real quick is called Sidus Bridge. And we're really excited about this one because Sidus Bridge, again, what this is going to allow you to do is for all of your Aputure lights out there that are powered and can be used via that RF remote, right? This little thing. We're all familiar with this thing. It's a great remote. It works. It's been kind of a workhorse for many years for us. For anything that uses this remote and that's remote controllable, Sidus Bridge, what this is going to do is it's actually going to take your phone. Your phone is going to throw a Bluetooth signal automatically to Bridge, and Bridge is going to convert that into a radio frequency signal so that now your 120D Mark II, your 672, your LS1, your LS1C, all of those are going to have the same controllability, same functionality, of course, within reason. You know, we're not able to add HSI when your LEDs are only daylight or bicolor, but as far as effects go, as far as dimming it up and down, as far as changing color temperature wirelessly from your phone, Bridge is going to let you do that. So let's hop real quick into the slide for Bridge. We're going to talk real quick about how this works and how this works into the ecosystem. So Sidus Bridge, quick overview. As I said before, controls legacy Aputure fixtures. So if you bought a light 6 years ago, we are bringing you along. We want to make sure that you guys are having the same innovation that the rest of us have. Number two, as far as range goes, we're talking about 100 meters away, combined 500 meters, because again, we're talking to our farthest fixture, which is 400 meters, plus another 100 meters, because we can throw it, and every fixture adds and strengthens the network. Again, every Aputure fixture, every Bluetooth mesh fixture builds a stronger network, and Bluetooth mesh technology is new. We can control the 672, the LS1, the Tri-8, the LS1C, the original 300D, and the original 120D and the 120D Mark II. All these are now officially controllable via app. This is Bluetooth mesh that we're talking about here. This does work with the app. 9 built-in lighting effects are being added for all of those old lights there. So if you have that 672, you are able to do firework effects and lightning effects and all of that built in. We do have picker effects that's also going to be working with the Bridge as well too, so that'll work with all of your older fixtures. And then finally, the last thing you want to know is that it does control 12 fixtures and it does have a built-in quick charge battery. So let's jump into what this means. Ready? Okay, so number one, we're talking about the build quality of this thing. This thing is beautifully designed. If you guys haven't seen it already, you got to touch it to sort of understand exactly what it means. This is full aircraft aluminum. Let's jump in real quick as far as what the slides look like. So number one, this is fully contained. This is IP64 dust and waterproof. So fully waterproof here. You don't have to worry about this thing getting splashed or thrown around or sweat or anything like that. Moving on. As far as the actual build goes, you've got these little rubber bumpers here just to kind of protect it from getting dropped or destroyed in that way. On the front here, it's again, full aluminum crafted shield here. On the top here, this is a big one. Replaceable SMA antennas. So one of the things that this is so important of is that for a lot of you guys out there, especially a lot of you wireless DMX people, you know that a lot of the consoles or the transceivers have built-in antennas. The problem with the built-in antenna is that if the antenna breaks, very, very hard to fix. And again, I know how a lot of you guys work on set. A lot of the time, things can't be delicate. Things are going to get moved around. Things are going to get blown around this antenna design while allowing for the maximum amount of connectivity. If I were to snap and break one of these, all I got to do is that these antennas, SMA antennas, very easy to find. You can literally go to a Fry's or a Best Buy or something like that, and you will be able to install and get on a new antenna, no problem. Finally, on the bottom here, I've got my actual charging port here. So again, I've got USB Type-C here. I can quick charge this. As far as the battery length goes, we're talking about 18 plus hours of nonstop use. And then finally here on the screen here, you've got a little thing here. What is that for? The reason that this is here is because this is actually a brightness reader. So what this is going to do is the LEDs are actually going to automatically change and be adaptive based on where I actually am in terms of how bright it is. If it's very bright outside, the LEDs are going to get brighter so you can see them. If it's very dark outside, they're going to dim real down so they don't affect your scene. Okay. Last thing, I think I almost missed it, is that it is, of course, mountable as well, too. So mountable thread right here on the side. So if I want to put this on a stand or a super clamp or something like that, or I just want to wear it as a hip pack, whatever you're feeling like that, this is all doable in there as well. Okay. So number two, we're talking about power options. We talked real quick about how this does have a built-in battery. Let's hop on. So quick charging PD, quick charging. So if I use quick charge PD protocol, what that means is that I can charge this entire thing in about 50 minutes. I'm using 5-volt 2-amp charger, which is like an iPad charger or something like that. I can charge the entire device in about 70 minutes. And then again, 18 plus hours built in. So what this is designed to do is if you did not charge it for your second day on set, this is not going to be the problem for you. This is going to be something that is still going to be the work into that second day of set. This will last for your entire full day on set. So no matter what kind of thing you're shooting, 12-hour day where you have the lights going the entire day, no problem there as well. Moving on. Now, connectivity, we talked about how this works. This does go from Bluetooth to the actual transceiver itself. This will translate this into 2.4 gigahertz. But let's talk real quick about how this works. So again, Sidus Bluetooth mesh connectivity means that 80 meters of range between every single device. So I can literally place my devices 80 meters away. For a lot of people that are not familiar with meters, if you're here in the States and for some dumb reason we keep using imperial, basically for that, that's going to be approximately about a football field of distance. A football field is about 100 meters. If you remember, we're talking about 400 meters of range if you can hop between devices. Now, this is going to work as a mesh amplifier. So even if you do have new Aputure fixtures and you want to strengthen the Bluetooth signal that you have on set, again, every device that you add is going to strengthen that signal, but it actually helps to have one master device on set that has a very far overreaching design, because what that's going to allow us to do is that's actually going to allow us to communicate to all the devices at the same time and coordinate changes at the same time as well. So this does act as kind of a coverage bubble connecting your entire set, kind of strengthening that network. Again, two antennas here. One of them is for our Bluetooth. The other antenna is for 2.4 gigahertz. So you do need both antennas. And of course, we did talk about the SMA as well. So Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz. So just make sure that you do have both antennas working. They are not just a duplicate or a copy of the other one. There's a reason that they're actually built in the way that they are. Okay. Moving on from connectivity options, we got our interface and our controls. Super simple here, not a lot to cover. On the top here, I've got my adaptive brightness sensor, which we talked about. This is going to read the illuminance of the room, and it's actually going to design, and the LEDs are going to go up and down. Seems like a small thing, but again, we're trying to think about the details here. Sidus really did a really nice job of designing everything carefully, making sure that's all fine-tuned. Only one button here. If I want to turn this off, all I got to do is hold it for 3 seconds. So I'll hold it off, 1, 2, 3, and the entire device will turn off in real time. If I want to turn it on, all I have to do is hold it for 1 second, and the entire device will turn on just like that. If I want to pair with Bluetooth, I just have to hold it on a little bit longer, and everything will pair, and the actual LEDs will tell me when it's pairing or not. So super simple design. Again, this is the last thing you should be thinking about when you're thinking about a creative set, making sure that your gear works properly every single time. Okay, moving on. Now, as far as the app interface goes, let's talk real quick how this builds in. So for a lot of people out there wondering, and people that have 120D Mark IIs or 672s or LS1s, this is probably the part that you've been waiting for. how does this look in Sidus Link? How does it actually control all of my fixtures? So behind me, I have got, real quick, can you get the camera? I've got a 672 right there. I've got an LS1C right here. I've got an LS1S right here, and I've got a 120D Mark II right there. So all of these fixtures are going to be controllable via Bridge. I'm going to do this via the same iPad app that I've shown you guys before, and I'm going to patch into my iPad real quick here so you guys can get an image. I'm going to hop over to my regular modes here. So let's get our iPad view up. I'll show you how this works. So you saw this before already. Here's all my MCs here. There's my Nova here on the bottom. If I want to add Bridge, I add it the same way I add any other fixture. I just hit that plus button, hit new fixtures, and voila, this is going to load up all the connectable fixtures in this space. This is obviously Aputure Studio, so there's a whole bunch of them. This one right here is the Bridge, so I'm going to click that, I'm going to hit setup, and now just like any other device, it is now connecting to the Bridge. So when I connect to the Bridge, it's going to load. Okay, we are good to go. And now, just like my other devices, I now have one here called Bridge. So I can rename this. I'm going to name this Bridge for the People. Why am I naming this Bridge for the People? Because this is a product that we designed for the people. We basically make zero money on it. The reason we're doing this is because we want to bring along all the loyal Aputure fans, a lot of the loyal Aputure users, the people that helped us make the company that we are today. You guys are the reason why this product exists, and we want to make sure that when we innovate and do exciting things, you guys are coming along. So, Bridge for the People, here I am. I'm going to select that real quick. And when I select this, all I have to do is I now have all of my channels and my groups here on the right. So I've got channel 1A, channel 2A, channel 3A. And if I want to change these, all I do is I go to channel 1A, and now just like that, there is my intensity change. I'm changing a 120D right behind me, which is on channel 1A. If I go to 1B, I can change this as well too. So on 1B, I believe I have my, let's see, I think it's my 672 that I got here. Okay. Now it's my 672 here. So my 672 is now dimming up and down as I pull this up and down. 1C, I've got my bicolor light here. So you can see I'm actually changing my color temperature in the actual window as I drag this up and down. And all this can be programmed in. Now, in addition to that, in the same way that you have a regular console mode, so you can see on the iPad, console mode is normally on the bottom right. Now, the way the Bridge works, though, is that you have your own separate console mode within Bridge. So if I go to the top here, next to that, my second button is console mode. So just like the way that I had console mode for all the rest of my lights, you have console mode as well, too. So I can now dim and live fade all of my lights here in real time. So this is my channel 1B. Here's my bicolor 1B. So I can actually change all of that as well too. So everything is fadeable and controllable in the same way that we had it before. If I want to do effects, I can do that in. All I have to do is click lightning or something like that. I'm going to go to lightning. I'm going to say lightning is on channel 1A. And now when I hit start, here it is. We're talking about lights that are multiple years old that are now doing a lightning effect just like that. So I can trigger this however many times I want to. I can go through different effects like say cop car. If I want cop car, the way that we customize this is you can actually say 1A is going to be the first part of cop car. The second part of cop car is going to be 1B. So now when I trigger this and I start this, one of them is going to go first, the other one's going to go second. One of them is going to go first, the other one's going to go second. Again, fully customizable as far as how I want to change my app and change my actual changing here. I've got my faulty bulb effect, I've got my paparazzi, my fireworks. And for each of these, this is not just a port of the new stuff here. This is actually a custom designed, this is why I'd say it's for the people, because we did this with all the legacy Aputure fixtures out there that already exist. All these effects have been built in, and we went from scratch and redesigned each of these so that each of the effects is optimized. It's not just the same effect. You're not going to see bugs. Each effect is optimized for the actual device that we're talking about here. So you can see something like lightning or strobe, they only have one channel here, and that's 1A because it's only going to control one fixture at a time. However, if I have something like cop car, I have up to 3 channels. So I can actually pick 3 different channels that will alternate, and this will do all the controlling. This will be your kind of effects box. And if I have something like, say, paparazzi, which makes sense to have a bunch of different lights triggering at different times, again, I have 3 different channels here so that they will trigger at different times, and they will all coordinate in this time to make sure that's the most realistic paparazzi effect that you've got going on. Likewise, I think the last one that I want to cover here is fire. Fire, of course, has 3 channels as well, too. So when I do this, it will give me that flickering fire look, and it's actually going to do it from multiple lights going up and down at the same time. So again, customizing, working, using every Aputure fixture in your kit as an arsenal, not just to strengthen the network, but to make your effects more realistic and better overall. All right. Okay, I think that did a pretty good walkthrough. Let's check the PowerPoint to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I just wanted to show you guys because I think demoing this stuff in real time is the best way to do this. So we talked about group and channel control. We talked about the custom modules. Again, the console is something that is built into Bridge, so you have your own independent console that will work in the same way as the rest of Bridge. You have multiple fixture control, and we talked about those effects as well too. And again, you can do picker effects, so you can do recordable effects on a 672, a light that's 6 years old. So that is something that I think we're really proud and excited about. Brando, ready for the next slide? That's it. We are here at the end. That is the price of the Bridge. I'm going to say real quick, the Bridge is a product that we designed for a lot of the original Aputure users that supported us. I think there's a lot of conversation about us growing and getting bigger quickly, and that's something that's been really happening since day one. And I think what I want to say is, again, for all the people that came out at the early trade shows and gave us feedback and helped us out, and again, we still have a long way to go, right? And I think there's a lot of things that we have as far as innovations on the edge. Look, believe me, I see all your comments about release the 600D and these kinds of things, and we are absolutely going bigger and better. But what I want to say about Bridge is a bridge in terms of bringing across and making sure that all of our original Aputure users, people that invested in the ecosystem early on, you guys are coming along with us no matter what as we go. And number two, we were talking about bigger and badder and better lights. And I think one thing that I want to say is that get ready, because if you are on the more affordable side of Aputure and you need something for that as well too, we are absolutely thinking about you. We are not going anywhere. We are growing. We are expanding. However, we are not just going higher with our innovations. For a lot of you lower end guys that maybe need the budget or more budget conscious or just affording kind of an early lighting kit, you will see some pretty amazing Aputure lights coming out soon. So I can't talk too much about that, but just hang tight and stay tuned. Other than that, I believe that's it. This is one of the longest live streams that we've done. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So let's get a couple of questions and then let's close this out. You ready? Brando, you got something?
Yeah.
Cool.
And Bridge.
Sure thing. Yeah, so basically the way that the Bridge controls, the question, I'll repeat it one more time for this. How many lights can the Bridge control? So the one thing that I'll say is that basically, as far as what we do, it works the same way that the remote works. So the remote basically, generally speaking, will control 12 channels, 12 groups really. And that's because we have 3 channels, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 letters for 4 groups. So that's 12 overall groups. Now, per channel, per group, we are talking about approximately 20 fixtures. Now, for stability of the entire network, we don't recommend doing any more than 60. So I don't know how many 672s you own, but if you have 60 672s, that's okay, not a problem. That should still carry on as planned. So next question, you ready? What Sidus Pro effects work with the legacy lights? So the question again, what Pro effects work with the Sidus legacy lights? I can read them off real quick. We have 9 effects that are built in automatically. You have things like candle, you have fireworks, you have paparazzi, you have faulty bulb, you have cop car, you have lightning, you have strobe, you have pulsing, and you have fire, and coming in with candle as well too. So those are the 9 effects that are already built in. But again, you can pick effects too. You can use picker effects to record those as well too. So no problems there as well.
Does the Sidus Link Bridge work with other brands?
Aha. So the question is, does the Sidus Link Bridge work with other brands of lights? No. So this is designed, again, for Aputure original users. This is designed to bring you guys along. We very much see the community of people that use us as a family. If you guys aren't a part of the Aputure user group, go join the Aputure user group. It's on Facebook. We talk every day, if not every minute. We are on there all the time. If you want to say hi, Ted, Brandon, Chetko, Benny, Ian, Brightman, any of us, we are on there all the time. We're there to answer your questions. We're there to hear your feedback. I see everything that post shows up on that group. And a lot of the time it ends up being feedback into a lot of the products that we do too. So that was a long-winded answer of saying, no, this is something that is for the Aputure community only.
This work Tri-8.
Yeah, the question is, will this work for the Tri-8 or the Mini 20? The Tri-8, absolutely yes. The Tri-8 is a remote controllable app. So again, since the Tri-8 can be controlled via the RF radio frequency remote, that will work. The Mini 20 is one of the only products in Aputure history that did not build in the radio frequency remote control. And again, we were trying to make it as light as possible. It's kind of a travel kit light back in the day. So that one will no. That one can only be controlled manually because it doesn't have radio frequency control. All right. We're going to do 2 last questions. Or let's see who else we got in the chat. We got Ollie. We got Trevor Pinnocky. We got Luke Searveld. Good to see you. Thong Nguyen. Yep. Yeah. Question is, will Sidus Link ever work with Quasar or other lights? I cannot confirm or deny anything about that. So we are absolutely talking to a couple of companies about bringing in Sidus Link. And again, I don't know as much about that because Sidus Link, again, operating, they're doing their own thing these days. So I'm just proud and happy to be a part of the announcement team on this. Again, this relates to Aputure users, so I'm happy to do that. But Sidus Link is kind of doing its own thing, and they are growing at a speed that you will see other features and other features that's coming from them. So again, if I haven't said it already once in the beginning, go find Sidus Link, go follow them online, follow them. I'm not gonna make you do anything you don't wanna do, but if you wanna see new innovations and you're interested in what's coming out, go find them online. They are releasing a lot of new things there. Likewise, there is a Sidus Link creativity group. Go join that. Go post some of the things that you guys are working on. Amazing, amazing stuff. And you will see other updates. If you thought that today was mind-blowing, they're working on some really, really incredible stuff for the future. Okay. Was that the second question? I think that was the second question. Yeah. I got a couple comments here. Tell Valentina I said hi. Yes, Valentina was absolutely the voice for the Sidus Link commercial. She is the best. If you don't know already, Valentina's great. She hosts Formative Film School on the Aputure team. Other than that, I think we're going to close this out. We got Thong Nguyen here. We got Theodora Lopez. We got Steven Rodriguez. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking around. And this was a long live stream today, but I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Again, wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for having kind of an awesome community that was so supportive. So from all of us to you, I feel like I'm PBS right now. From all of us to you, thank you so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the new effects.